Oh, my cigarettes.
Can't forget the cigarette.
I didn't even watch it. I'm terrified. I'll watch it after it fucking goes up. We have eyebrow animations. I need to get my eyebrows done. They look terrible.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to your Class vs. Crass Nintendo podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Lapine, and joining me tonight, Shawn the Grumpy Long.
Fuck E3. Everything sucked. Nah, what's going on, people?
How are your eyebrows?
They need a that's okay. So if you looked on my Facebook, I said that I needed a haircut for next week and I needed something else. I didn't want to say, oh, I need fucking my eyebrows trimmed up because they look like a fucking
Bush.
you know bush. Yeah, and people are like, hey, what's the other thing? Waka waka waka.
Why do you have a kazoo?
Because I need it. And I didn't want to say it was. I need my eyebrows freaking arched, but
Is that your hype? I also need my eyebrows done. They're getting a little unified there.
yeah.
So, welcome everyone to the Eyebrow Plucking Podcast, where we talk about eyebrow plucking every week here on the Nintendo Enthusiast channel. But no, really, we're going to be talking about E3. That's why we're here on a Tuesday evening instead of a usual Sunday night at 8. So, if this is your first time joining us on Class vs. Crass, we don't have any ground rules, but we usually talk Nintendo. Tonight, a little bit special for you guys. We're going to be talking about all E3. We're going to go over all the conferences, not in as much detail as you might like. We're assuming that you've seen most of the conferences. We're going to be sharing our thoughts on what everyone brought to the table, on what we think of the gaming industry as a whole, what this E3 means. Obviously, we all know that E3 is a big moment in gaming culture, and every year it kind of defines the tone of where we're heading. So lots to talk about there. And then in the second half, we're going to focus a lot more on Nintendo because, hey, we're Nintendo enthusiasts, and there's a lot to talk about because Zelda looks freaking amazing. Right, Shawn?
For the most part.
All right. Oh man, where do we start? All
I
right, so
guess
everybody's
sequential order. That's what I'd do.
sequential order. There's so much to talk about. If you've been following either of us on Twitter, you've been definitely been seeing. I've been sharing a lot of excitement and hope, and the usual optimism that I share here in the Class vs. Crass duo. Whereas Shawn has just been shitting on everything. The guy is so miserable with his life. He loves nothing.
Love
I
cigarettes and Diet Dr. Pepper.
calls himself the gaming king or something, but didn't like a single thing this E3.
I liked some things. We'll get into what I liked. There was
All
a
right.
lot I didn't like because I'm not a fucking fanboy. Like
And of course, we do have the chat with us tonight. Welcome, chat. Or I guess just welcome, yeah. Be sure to let us know while we're doing this what you thought about E3. What are your thoughts about the topics we're going to talk about? And yeah, just join the discussion. Don't feel left out. So let's get started. The first conference we got, and I might be mistaken here, was it EA or Bethesda that was first?
it was the EA.
It was EA. And I think that was a good thing because EA was probably one of the most boring press conferences to start off with. Here's a recap of EA if you missed it. Their big highlights, they went over Titanfall 2, which is coming out this fall. Battlefield 1, obviously, the trailer was already released, but now we got more of that also coming out this fall. Mass Effect Andromeda, which is still a to be determined date. We got Faye, which I really don't know what Faye is about, but yeah. We got some new Battlefront DLC, but Battlefront, and tons of sports game, but sports games are boring. So overall, EA kind of a snore fest. It's usually the one I look to the least every year, so I don't really have much to say here. What about you, Sean?
Battlefield looks pretty dope. I think that could be a step in the right direction for that franchise. And what was the other thing? Titanfall. I don't like how they're making a big fucking deal. Oh, Titanfall has a story. It's like, okay, well, the first one should have had a story. Like, you were half-assed. Like, a single player component is a basic component for games. But I mean, E3 overall, it was pretty. I mean, EA overall was pretty meh. But to be expected. Never.
Sounds like you're about to
Yeah.
drop on us.
Good.
Yeah, you're probably gonna drop on us, aren't you? Have you dropped yet? All right, let's get that out of the system. So if you're familiar with Class vs. Crass, every week Sean drops, but hey, we have some good news. Sean has finally gathered enough money to get himself a new router. Unfortunately, he's only getting it tomorrow. So this is the last I hope, Class vs. Crass, where we have to tolerate Sean's shitty internet. We should really make a T-shirt out of his internet. So, EA, what was he talking about? Oh yeah, just Titanfall 2 having a a single player campaign, which is actually good. I honestly like it. But what do you guys think? So overall E3 and let's say EA. You guys excited about EA? You guys have any highlights of E3? Actually, is there anything that you guys want us to focus on more than another tonight? Since it's just kind of me and you guys for now until Sean reconnects. Because right now, all we have planned is we're going to go through all the conferences, all of the content, and finish up with Nintendo because Nintendo. Eyebrows are cool, Ryan. EA was pretty meh. Which is good though this year because usually EA is kind of wedged between Microsoft and Sony. So it's like you get a lot of hype, and then you got like these lower tiered conferences that you have to sit through, and then you finish off with Sony, and then you get Nintendo. So I feel that was good that EA went first because it's like, all right, let's start with the worst, and then let's just kind of go up. Although they did wedge Ubisoft in there, which was kind of still meh. Oh God, Steep. It looks good. It's not my kind of game, and definitely wasn't presented in an exciting way. But I mean, how exciting can it be to have an open world snowboarding parachuting game? I mean, it looks like a good game. I think a lot of people who like that type of game can have a lot of fun with it. So Sean should be up here shortly. He's usually about 2 minutes to reconnect. The Bethesda conference was pretty interesting. We're gonna get into that in a bit. What I was really disappointed with EA is their lack of Star Wars. Like, I wish that they had as much Star Wars content as they had of their sports content. Like, obviously, they have the monopoly on sports games. They also have the monopoly on Star Wars games. So I was really expecting a lot more Star Wars stuff from them. But they only showed like a little bit more support for their mobile game, for the Old Republic, which I haven't touched in years. I was one of the uh, I played that game for the first, I think, year and a half that it was released, and it was just, I don't know, it got boring. MMOs weren't for me. And then, of course, Battlefield. I don't know, it was disappointing. See you soon, Nate. See you in 30. Hey, jumping in Zelda was a big deal. It deserved its own article. We were kind of going crazy. Oh my God, Link can finally jump. Yeah, I don't think Bethesda necessarily needed their own conference, but it's really interesting, and I think it plays an important part in this whole gaming ecosystem that we have now. Is the Old Republic's current expansion good? Because I mean, it looks interesting. I just haven't bothered. Like, is it good for free-to-play players, or should I go back as a subscriber to try it? Because I was a subscriber for the longest time in that game. Watch Dogs 2 is definitely a game I'm excited about. I did not get into Watch Dogs 1. The reviews and all that kind of turned me off, and I had a lot of other games to play, but Watch Dogs 2 looks like it's finally the polished game that we kind of wanted from the first one. So I'm probably going to be diving into that. Also, oh yeah, I didn't have a platform to support Watch Dogs 2, and by the time the Wii U version came out, I don't know, I just didn't care by that point. Jeez, Shawn is sure taking a while. All by myself. Did you guys watch the E3 video I made for you guys? Part 1? Hope you guys like that. It's gonna be a 4-part series. I've been planning that for some time. And actually, I was planning another similar epic series in December, which never saw the light of day because I missed my time frame, because it was supposed to be done by December. So then I came up with this E3 idea back in January. Finally got to work on it in March, and as you saw, I finally got part 1, really cutting it close with the deadline, just coming out on Saturday before the whole E3 buzz. So if you guys did like that, I'm working really hard now to get part 2, 3, 4 up. The original idea was to have each part come out in May in every week, so that each week we would have, a little piece of E3 history building up to the 2016. Jeez, that took you a while.
Yeah, I unplugged some things. Maybe that'll
Good.
help.
I hope so. Can't wait till you get your new router.
Tomorrow.
I know. Wish you went today. All right. So you were saying about the EA conference.
Pedestrian, average at best, nothing worth noting. Titanfall looks cool, but no big deal.
Yep, like I was saying with our audience here, I am happy that EA went first because it's usually pretty boring. They always wedge it between Sony and Microsoft, Microsoft and Sony. This time it was the first one out of the door and it was good to just get out of the way.
Yes, agreed.
Good. All right, then we have Bethesda, which had their conference. Second year that they have their conference now. They showed off some interesting games. They showed off Skyrim, the remastered version of Skyrim, which is coming out this fall. We're also getting Dishonored 2 this fall from them. I'm hearing myself.
I don't hear you. I mean, I hear you fine. I don't.
Through your headset or through your speakers?
I'm all headset.
All right. Uh, Then they announced Quake Champions, no release date for that. We got Elder Scrolls Legends, the card game, which is coming out this year, which did not seem to have impressed much many people. Definitely trying to compete with Hearthstone is what it looks like they're doing. Then we got some obviously Fallout 4 DLC, and then they revealed Prey, much to Sean's contentment. What would be the word?
Disgust.
Discuss. But you liked Prey, didn't you?
No, it was okay. Like Prey. I remember when Prey came out, and it was an early 360 title, and I remember buying it because I didn't have. I was playing like Quake 3 and something else, maybe basketball. And Prey came out, and I was like, "Oh, this looks interesting." I just remember I was just very. I mean, it was okay. It wasn't a bad game or anything, but I just thought it was very disappointing. And for all these people to just, oh my god, a new Prey! Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
So
Um,
overall, good conference, good content.
Overall, it was good. I'm not a huge fan of the Skyrim remaster. Um, you know, it's kind of funny. I actually have a theory about all these remasters now make sense to me, and I'm gonna elaborate on that a little later. But overall, it was good. Quake was definitely awesome. I remember I wasn't watching the conference, but I was skyping with Jordan and Connor, and they were watching it, and they were like, "Dude, I don't know what this game is." I was like, "It's fucking Quake, I bet." And then they revealed that it was Quake, and I watched it back after. So Quake's awesome. Definitely cool to see that in Doom come back. That Bethesda did a great job with Doom. The card game I could give two shits about. They really showed off way too much Dishonored 2 for my liking as well. I didn't think it looked all that interesting. I'm sure it'll play good. The first Dishonored was a super solid game, but overall much better than EA. But definitely, and the Fallout DLC. I'm getting rid of Fallout. I didn't really care for Fallout 4. I thought Fallout 3 was a more cohesive game, a little more streamlined as well. So the DLC does look cool, but I mean, you got to remember the current DLC that's out right now has so many problems with frame rate and bugs on the PS4 and the Xbox One. So more than likely, it's going to be, same sort of deal. But overall solid.
Yeah. Do you think that Bethesda still needs to be holding press conferences? Like last year, it kind of made sense, and it was their first time out there saying, "Hey, we need a presser." Do you feel that they needed one this year, or that you feel that they're trying to build up their brand to pretty much be as iconic as, say, Ubisoft and EA?
I think they Bethesda. See, the thing is, Bethesda used to not make a whole hell of a lot of games all at once, but they've grown as a company. So I think it's relevant. I mean, Quake was obviously one of the bigger surprises for a lot of people. So I think they're in a position where they should have a marquee press conference. I mean, more so than EA. I mean, their press conference was better than EA. Their press conference was better than Ubisoft. So they're a big company now, and they make there's a bunch of games.
Yeah. I found that they did have a good conference, even though their style of games isn't really my style of game. It's a lot of first-person stuff. Uh, Skyrim Remaster I am interested in because I never got into the original, so this is good excuse for me to get back into it. Quake I played as a kid when I was like a baby, and it felt terrible playing it because I felt like I was
Quake
kind
was
of
awesome.
yeah, I grew up in a very like wholesome family where you weren't supposed to play games like that, and it was kind of like pre-installed in my very first computer ever. I was like, "What's this game?" I was like, "Oh, should I be playing this? It looks pretty like I don't know, anti-wholesome, if you will." So
Yeah, I
that's
mean, it was. That's what made it cool.
right.
I mean, essentially, that's why Doom is so cool because, and it's kind of funny if you actually think about it. Doom is probably one of the most Christian video games ever because you're killing demons. You're getting rid of demons. I used to tell my parents that when I was a kid because they were somewhat religious, and I was like, no, this is a good game. You killed the demons, and they're like,
Ridding
oh,
the
okay.
world of demons. Yeah, good
Yeah, I mean,
excuse.
you're doing the Lord's work.
Right. So that was Bethesda. Those were two. Now, next up was Microsoft, which was a giant, of course, next to Bethesda and EA. Lots of stuff unveiled at Microsoft. I'm going to run it down real quick. So they start off the show with the Xbox One S being unveiled. Smaller Xbox supports 4K TV, $399. Then they showed off some Gears of War 4. They showed off some Killer Instinct add-ons, which is making me believe Killer Instinct is the Smash Brothers for Microsoft. Forza Horizon 3, which looked pretty awesome. We got some footage of Recore. We got a really embarrassing look at Final Fantasy 15, a Titan boss fight, which was it hurt to watch. More DLC for Division, Battlefield 1, Xbox announcing a bunch of services like clubs and stuff. We saw Minecraft crossplay. That was another. Ugh. Then they unveiled the whole custom controller side of things. We got into indie games showing Inside, which was like the dumbest trailer ever, in my opinion. We Happy Few, which my God, lots to talk about there. Then we saw Gwen, which is the standalone card game from The Witcher. Tekken 7, Dead Rising 4, Scalebound, Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, Halo Wars 2, and finally cap it all off with Project Scorpio.
Lots to talk about.
Lots to talk about there. I'm gonna start here. So overall, Microsoft, I own an Xbox One. Uh, you know, when you look at it this way, yes, it's. I think it was a really great conference. They brought a lot to the table. They brought a lot for everyone. Even for myself, who's not big into first-person shooters, I felt that there was a little bit for everyone in here. Personally, for me, I was very interested in We Happy Few. That really looks interesting. Sea of Thieves looks really cool. Love the concept. Lots of good stuff going on here. What were your thoughts on this conference as a whole?
As a whole, it left me with a lot of questions, which we will get into, deeper. You mean as far as the games are concerned?
Let's go games first, then hardware.
Okay. We probably I would throw me up some titles because I mean there were so many titles.
Right.
You
Gears
know,
of War 4 was the big one.
Gears of War 4. It. I used to love Gears of War. I kind of fell out of love with it after the third one, and I don't know. Gears of War 4. I mean, to me, it looks exactly like a Gears of War game, but and that's not necessarily bad, but it doesn't feel like they're not doing a lot to advance the series in terms of really anything in gameplay, graphics, anything. It looks pretty much like it did on the 360, albeit a little bit prettier. So Gears of War 4 looks like a fun game, but I felt it was kind of disappointing overall.
Really? Just because it didn't bring anything new to the table, it was just more of the same?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Well, I mean, I'm just getting into Gears of War, so I obviously don't have as much to say about that. Other Killer Instinct seem more content for that.
Killer Instinct. I mean, that's cool. I'm glad they're adding more stuff to it, but I mean, that's been the most drawn out. I mean, that game is essentially what like was a launch title, so that's 2.5 years old, and they're still adding stuff. It's kind of like okay.
Yeah, it's good. Recore, which we saw a lot more of, I think last year was just a trailer. Now we actually saw some gameplay to that. That's one of the games I'm personally interested in. Again, graphically, not that like it's not wow, but the gameplay looks really fun, and that's important.
Yeah, Recore looks cool. A lot of people are giving a lot of credence to the developer. Really all they've done so far that's been listed is Arkham City Blackgate, which wasn't, the greatest game in the world. So I'm still a little on the fence about that. I think it'll be good, but I'm keeping reservations somewhat low on it.
Right, and then we saw Forza Horizon 3, which to me, I'm not into racing games, and this game looked really cool to me. Like it's basically an open world racing game.
Right. Yeah. Forza looks really really solid. I've always liked the Forza stuff. So yeah, I'm totally on board with Forza. It's a little more arcadey than Gran Turismo, but as of late they've been kind of switching roles with that. So
Hmm. Then we saw some Final Fantasy 15 boss fight. I don't know if you actually watched the boss fight, but it was
I
like
did not see that.
it was 5 minutes of cringe. It's basically like a Titan's like just moving his hand and the guy's fighting his hand and he was getting like smacked constantly. It looked like he was dying. It hurt to watch. You probably don't care about Final Fantasy anymore though, so
I mean, well, we could talk more about that with the PlayStation stuff
sure.
because I did see that.
Tekken 7 though, that's one you're probably interested in.
Yeah, I'm glad to see Tekken 7. Honestly, a lot of people probably weren't expecting that. That's definitely one of the more, I guess, surprises for me because Tekken's been very, very quiet for a long time. So definitely glad to see Tekken 7. It looks really good, and Tekken's a phenomenal series.
I thought they were gonna do Capcom vs Tekken because that intro was real. I don't know if you saw what it was. It was basically I think his name's Enuma, and I hope I didn't say that wrong.
Yes.
From Street Fighter, fighting. Oh shit, I don't know his name though. The guy from Tekken.
Yeah, and actually, a lot of people on social media when that stuff was like, oh, it's finally here, and then it was like, oh, Tekken 7.
Nope, psych, Tekken.
But I mean, that's cool. I mean, I would rather. I love the crossover games, but I kind of prefer the oh, did you not say Akuma? It sounded
I
like you
think I
said
said
Akuma.
I think I said Enuma.
Okay, that's the Zelda guy.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Um,
getting my Japanese names messed up.
Modern Samurai J. But yeah, I'm all for the crossover stuff, but I do like to see the individual games from the franchises.
Yeah. I was actually really impressed with the indie games that they showed off. So I don't even know why Inside out of all the indies got a little bit of a trailer, because that trailer showed absolutely nothing, and I think that's a topic we can get into a little bit later with you know what, because some of the trailers shown off at E3 were just WTF, and it got crowds crazy. It's like, why is this trailer exciting you? It's not even telling you anything about the game. Um, but yeah, inside was like a black shadow looking down at a window. It's like boom inside. It's like no, that doesn't tell me anything. But the indie roll that Xbox showed had a lot of good games in there, including Cuphead, which is another game I'm really looking forward to. Now Cuphead, we saw some platforming to that last week. But yeah, Indie Reel looks so interesting. I'm actually considering doing a little indie corner segment over at Xbox Enthusiast because lots of that's not what my theme song sounds like.
Dun 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 dun.
We Happy Few. Did you see anything about that?
The what?
We Happy Few.
No.
No. Oh, okay. So this game looks really cool. I don't even know how to explain it. It's like in a world where everybody has to take medication to be happy, but by taking the medication, they're all like perceiving the world differently than what it is. And everybody wears these like clown masks with smiling faces, and everybody's trying to say, "You got to be happy, you got to be happy." And then like your main character, it's all first person. He decides not to take his medicine one day, and he starts seeing the world for what it is, and all the people are trying to hunt him down and like kill him or force him to take his meds because he's not happy like everybody else. It looks messed up, but really intriguing.
That's kind of out there.
It is. You got to watch the trailer. It's
I'll check
really
it out.
messed up. We Happy Few. Check that out. What else we got here? Minecraft crossplay. That's interesting. They didn't go into much detail into actually specifying it would be cross console cosplay or cross console
Crossplay.
crossplay. Yeah, I think it's cosplay. Anyway, but that'd be interesting if you could play on your Wii U and PC and Xbox. But it wasn't confirmed, so I don't know if that's gonna happen. What's another one to talk about? Dead Rising 4, Scalebound. You got any interest in those?
Uh, I love Dead Rising. I played. I'm one of the few people that completed Dead Rising on the 360, and then bought it on the Wii and played the chop till you drop one. So yeah, definitely stoked to see Dead Rising. Scalebound looks pretty good as well. Definitely they did very well with their lineup of games. I feel because most of the games actually showed the games or whatnot.
Yeah, good assortment of games, lots of games. Sea of Thieves looked really good. So that was teased last year. That's Rare's new title. I don't know if
Right.
you saw what it is. It's basically an open world where you can just do anything you want with your buddies. You can just
Yeah, I saw it.
oh man, it looked cool when when the ship was sinking and then like one guy has to go down there and start patching up the holes. Just looks like a good time if you have friends, which is the downside, of course. So overall, Microsoft good software. They also had a good hardware component. Xbox One S is seriously what I wish would have came out for the Xbox One originally. I hate the size of my Xbox One. It is fat, it is ugly, and I don't like it. But the Xbox One S is sleek and sexy.
Yeah, the Xbox One S is a fine system. I have no problems with it. Um, it is what it should be, and yeah, it's that portion is fine.
Yep. But then the Scorpio opens a whole box of worms into this gaming industry that we're in. What
Oh,
does
you
it signal?
idiots! You idiots! You idiots! If you watched my video on Retro Gaming 285, it signals the death, not only the death of the Xbox One, but it also signals the death of console gaming as we know it. Let me tell you some
As we
things.
know it, yeah.
Let me tell you some things because I got in a big fucking argument with some guy on that video who just couldn't seem to wrap his head around things, and that's the problem with a lot of people. They can't wrap their head around things, all because Microsoft comes out there and says this is the new family of consoles, the original Xbox One, the Xbox One S, which is fine. The Xbox One S is fine. It's gonna be a good seller because it's gonna be one of the cheapest ways to play 4K video. That's going to be one of the big selling points of that. And all it is it's an upgrade, but it's not going to affect gameplay. Then we get into the Scorpio, which is going to affect gameplay. It is a stronger system. So all because Microsoft comes out and says we promise that all of the games will work across a family of systems does not mean they will work the same.
Yep.
People, get this through your head. The best example right now is with the current 3DS and the new 3DS and Hyrule Warriors. Okay? Hyrule Warriors it works on the 3DS, but it works like shit. It works great on the new 3DS, but on the current 3DS, it works like shit. And that is what you are in store for, people. The Scorpio not only is going to be probably $600-700. Let's call a spade,
There it is.
number one. But also, Microsoft has has confirmed that if a developer chooses to do so, they can develop for the Scorpio only. And that, my friends, signals the death of this gaming generation that we are in. Because don't even fucking get me started on Sony. Because once we get into Sony, oh my God, all of you children will be so enlightened.
Children.
Yes, it is a guitar amp.
So it's not just this generation. This is the first time we're stepping out of the traditional mold of what gaming generations are, at least in the last 10, 15 years. Um, you're now seeing we were already confused with NX rumors and what the NX was because the NX was kind of coming at a weird time in the Wii U's life cycle. But that one can kind of be forgiven because the Wii U, let's face it, wasn't is not doing well.
the Wii U lived 4.5 years, Jason.
It lived longer, but still the NX was kind of the first thing where it was introducing this concept of a family of systems, even though we all pretty much know it's BS and it's going to be whatever it is. But it's going to replace the Wii U.
Of
But
course.
now you've got the Scorpio, which is doing it even more aggressively, coming out at the end of 2017, giving the Xbox One a life of what, three, when it came
It'll
out,
it'll
three
be
and a half,
about
four
three and a
years?
half years when all said is done.
Right, and then we've got the Neo, which was confirmed last
Don't
week to
don't
exist.
let's not get into that
We're
because
not, but it's this. No, we're talking about how this is the fall of hardware of consoles. What's going to happen to console gaming? I don't think it's going anywhere, but it's definitely changing. I don't think we're going to be in a place where you are buying a console every 5, 6 years anymore, and you're getting a new collection of games. I think those days are now starting to be. Well, no, they're behind us. You're going to
here's
be. I don't even know. I don't even know what we're heading into. It's scary.
here's one of the problems. Here's what happened. Okay, the Wii the Wii fucked everything up
The Wii.
because the Wii did. Hear me out. When the Wii launched, you had the PS3 and the Xbox 360 in the same time frame.
Hmm.
The Wii got off to such a hot start. The Xbox 360 did fine. The PS3 did not. The PS3 got off to a very sluggish start. But about halfway through the life cycle, they realized that the Wii started to trail off. So then the PS3 and the Xbox 360 really hit their stride. So the decline of the Wii led to the PS3 and the 360 living longer than expected. Those systems came out in 2005, 2006.
But they weren't
They had
even
almost
they weren't
they
even the
had
same market though.
Jason, they were on. Doesn't matter. Video games is the market. I don't give a fuck if you're casual, if you're a mobile gamer, is ugh. But video games is the market, and everyone wants a piece of the market.
Okay.
Realistically, the Xbox One and the PS4 should have came out sooner. They should have came out in 2011, 2012, the latest, because of the late success of the PS3 and the continued success of the Xbox 360. They didn't have to. The only reason those systems came out when they came out was because of each other. Because Microsoft saw that Sony was releasing something, and Sony saw that Microsoft was releasing something. So then that started the war.
Hmm.
So then what happened was, instead of getting fully fleshed out hardware, you got rushed hardware that really, at the end of the day, is not that big of a jump from the PS3. It's not that big of a jump from the 360. And people are saying, oh, well, it's because, it's reaching its limits in graphical capabilities. Bullshit. Bullshit. It's not reaching any sort of limits.
I think
It's
you're what you're
the
seeing
hardware.
it what you're seeing is what's that guy's name? You're just seeing this is how technology works. It just exponentially develops faster and faster. It's not always going to take 5, 6 years to develop the next gen of video cards and CPUs. It's just technology is being developed faster and consoles are able to pretty much upscale everything, like have better capabilities. How do you compete with PC? You don't, because the PC can always stay ahead of consoles. So I think what you're seeing, while your theory, I don't necessarily disagree with it, I think regardless of what happened in that last generation, we would still be where we are today with consoles starting to come out in 3 to 4 year cycles instead of 5, 6 year cycles. And it's just going to keep getting shorter until we hit this point of we can't do
Everyone
this
goes
anymore.
PC.
We have to go. Everyone goes PC, or we have modular consoles that you only upgrade aspects of it instead. But we can get into that more later. You still with me? He's gone. Just as we were about to get into the Ubisoft press conference, there was some good stuff in Ubisoft. Hmm. I'm actually looking at my list between Microsoft and Sony. I didn't realize, but Microsoft actually announced more stuff than Sony, which is not what I thought. It's not what it felt like, that's for sure. So as we wait for Shawn to get back, what do you guys think about this whole console generation business? Specifically with Scorpio, Neo, and NX on the horizon. Just reading through the comments here. Breath of the Wild was really disappointing to me, says Light Shadow. That's really interesting. I definitely wasn't disappointed, but we're going to have a whole segment on Zelda, which we should hit in about 20 minutes or so. I thought it was absolutely beautiful, and while I'm not convinced yet that the game's going to be necessarily as fun as old Zelda games, I love the direction that they're going in. And I loved what I saw. I watched the Treehouse conference all day, actually. Consoles are becoming phones, but less useful than phones. With phones, you can do a lot more than with a console. It does look like a Zelda game, actually. It looks like the original Zelda game. It does not look like the console Zelda games we've been getting for the last 10 years, though. The Xbox One S looks like a PS4. I think it's smaller than a PS4. If you're talking specs, or are you talking like actual body, what it looks like? Consoles will, I think, console will always have a place, and I really like what Microsoft actually did with the whole play your games anywhere you want, and you saw people playing it whether it was on their PCs, on their console, and they were all playing together, and I think that is definitely the route that we need to go, at least in this generation of technology. You have to connect all the devices, and I was really expecting Nintendo to come out and do that back in March. I was expecting the NX to come out, and they were going to say you can play Nintendo games on your phone, you can play it on your 3DS, you can play it on the NX, Wii U, and on your PC somehow through this new Nintendo Steam service. And it would have just unified all technologies while putting a Nintendo kind of cloud service on top of it all. And that's exactly what Microsoft is doing. And I really think that is forward thinking. That is what you're going to see more um, companies do, I think. Right, Sean? I'm going to get back to you, Puff, on which show was the best for me. I think everyone had a very unique angle, and they each kind of won their own aspect of E3. To say one overall, I think it's very hard to pick one. You good? You back?
Yeah, I even took a dump in the meantime. It was great.
Wow, you are an efficient shitter, man.
Yeah, I don't fuck around in there.
Damn, rocket shits. All right, so then we're getting into Ubisoft. Ubisoft, probably
Oh god, that was terrible.
the longest conference, which was so freaking unnecessary. But we saw Ghost Recon's Wildland, we saw Watch Dogs 2, we saw Steep, we saw South Park: The Fractured Butthole, For Honor, Division updates, Just Dance 2017. Although that's actually pretty significant in this whole E3 scheme. We saw some VR through Star Trek Bridge Crew, Trials of the Blood Dragon for the retro fans, Eagle Flight VR, and I don't know why, but we saw some Assassin's Creed movie stuff because why not? Movies based on games are always good. They always end up doing well. Uh, Sean didn't even wipe his asshole. Probably didn't.
No, I did. I'm a quick wiper, dude. I don't play around in the bathroom. I'm in and out. Unless I'm at work. Then I'm taking my time.
We should really abandon the whole wiping thing and go for what they have in Japan.
Bidets?
But yes,
The French do it too.
do that? Have you ever tried one?
Yeah. No, but I would love to
It
have
will
one.
change your life. When I went to Japan, I was a little scared of it, but wow, you will never feel as clean as when you use one of those toilets. Wiping is for chumps. So Ubisoft overall, I think the highlights everyone will agree was South Park, the Fractured Butthole, which was amazing. The presentation was great. Aisha was great, dropping an F-bomb right at the beginning, which was kind of set the tone for the rest of the presentation. And then there was some VR. It was the creeping in of VR, which Sony kind of just took off with. So Ubisoft, how do you feel about Ubisoft?
Sucked. Um, South Park and For Honor looked pretty dope. Um, I'm so tired of anything Tom Clancy from them because it's been so stale for so long. The Tom Clancy series is staler than Call of Duty. The Tom Clancy series is staler than uh, Assassin's Creed. Like Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
kill that damn series.
or
Fuck
reboot
Tom.
it.
Like go away with that. The VR stuff, I'm not really going to comment until the we talk Sony because, like I said, that's incorporated into my theories. But overall, very disappointing. It was funny to see Just Dance coming to the NX. Whoopity-doo!
Yes, yes, I think that's the one that's worth talking about here. Is this your hype kazoo? Did someone get you a hype
Yeah.
kazoo?
Nah, I saw this at work and I was like, ooh, mine.
So that was weird. So they start off the show Just Dance coming to all consoles in October and NX in whatever in 2017. So this confirms Ubisoft has dev kits for the NX. It's also the first AAA game confirmed for NX. It's third-party support, but that doesn't mean anything because all Just Dance come to Wii U now anyways. But the fact that that was mentioned and all the other games were not mentioned for NX, do you think that is an indicator of anything?
Um, I think they're just. I mean, they in the same breath they also said that Just Dance was coming to the Wii. So I mean, does it really mean they have a dev kit? I mean, they could just be programming it to what they think the system will be, and it'll just be a shitty rush port anyways, because it's coming out much later than the other versions are anyway. So I think people might have looked a little bit too far into that.
I don't know. I think it says a lot. It obviously strengthens the fact that the NX is at least at minimum a console. At minimum, it supports motion controls in some way. We don't know if that's whether it's through the Wii remote accessory or if it's whether it's through connecting through your phone. But it does start to show some kind of sign of what the NX could be.
Possibly.
And the fact, though, that they announced Just Dance and they didn't mention anything about their other games coming to the NX is a little scary because does that mean the NX has no third-party support? Does that mean it's not powerful enough or that it's not easy to port to the NX?
Third
Um,
parties care about one thing.
Audiences,
They
sales.
no third parties care about money, and right now they don't know if there's any money to be made on the NX. So something like Just Dance is a fucking cakewalk to put on anything. It's like I said, it's coming to the Wii as well. So not the Wii U. It's also coming to the Wii U, but it's also coming to the Wii as well.
Yeah,
So I mean, I don't think Just Dance is necessarily a great indicator.
it definitely got people talking though. So that was the
Oh yeah.
highlight of the conference. What do you think about Steep? That's a new IP from Ubisoft.
I don't trust new IPs from Ubisoft. Like they're I don't know. It could be good, but I
And
need to see more.
For Honor, while it looked cool, it looks a bit vaporware-ish. Like it looks very generic in terms of just being a fighting game, a medieval fighting game. I don't know.
I think it has potential though.
It has potential, but I just feel like it's gonna be released and after a week nobody's gonna talk about it.
Could be, but I mean that's the case with a lot of Ubisoft games. So
Yeah. Then we saw some creeping of VR. What did you think of that? So we actually saw a very competitive VR game through Eagle Flight, where all the players had to catch a rabbit and bring it back to the nest.
no, I don't talk about VR until
You're,
PlayStation.
oh, that's the rule. All right, good. Well, let's go to Sony. Um,
Mm,
so Sony had a pretty interesting conference. They redefined the way that they do their conference. Obviously, they went through to theaters, minimized their on-stage presence, and just went game, 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 game. Had an orchestra, which I thought was amazing. They revealed a reboot of God of War. They showed Resident Evil 7, Spider-Man, Days Gone, Detroit Become Human, Horizon Zero Dawn, Last Guardian, and then a ton of VR demos promising 50 VR games by the end of the year, which is very funny because when the PlayStation 1 came out, they promised 50 games at launch by the end of the year for PS1. And oh, Call of Duty Infinity, which was kind of a surprise tease. Crash Bandicoot remasters coming. Lots of stuff here. Did I mention the Kojima game?
No, you didn't.
What's that one called?
Fuck if I know.
All I think is fetus, hugging fetus.
Norman Reedus hugging fetus.
Yeah, oh, even rhymes. Uh, what is that game called? All right, so let's hear your thoughts because I know you got a lot of shit to say about it.
Sony quite possibly
Death
did
Stranding,
what?
that's what it's called.
Okay. Sony did quite possibly one of the biggest bamboozlings ever. Their conference was great. They had the best conference overall, in my opinion. But what you saw isn't necessarily reality. Because let's look at this. Let's look at the whole sum of the parts here. So one of those games that we saw, aside from Skylanders and the VR stuff, which I'll get into, has a release date.
Yep.
One game, and that's Horizon. Now, you could say, oh, well, they're just in development. Sure, they're in development. And you know what you saw? Those games were not running on the PS4. They were running on the PlayStation Neo.
Very possible.
See, all because they didn't talk about the Neo at the conference doesn't mean you didn't see the Neo, because you saw the Neo in all of those games except for Horizon, possibly Horizon as well. You saw the Neo in action, and that's kind of scary to me because honestly, it ties into the VR. If you look at all the VR games that they talked about that have a release date, you notice one common thing: they're all simply tech demos. Everything, every single thing was either a tech demo or tacked on. The
Mhm.
Star Wars shit, the Batman shit. It
Yep.
was a tech demo. Now, why is that? Because it's already been pretty much confirmed that the PS4 cannot handle the VR. And that's the necessity of the Neo. So, in saying that, all of those games probably will be on PS4, but the real VR stuff isn't coming to the Neo. So really, they showed you a bunch of cool shit to get you hyped,
Yep.
but
This is this is what let's talk about who won E3 because we can all say kind of Nintendo's floating off doing their own thing here. Um, Sony was definitely the one that got me the most excited, and I think it got the most gamers excited. They brought in a presentation which really got you feeling a lot of things. But once you strip it down to what it is, Microsoft had a lot more substance than Sony. And as Sean is saying, while Sony had a lot of wow and had a lot of excitement in the orchestra and they just didn't give you a chance to catch your breath, yeah, we don't have any release dates on this stuff. We don't know what it's coming out on. We don't know how well it's going to run. And overall, what does that mean for you as a player this year? What are you really getting from Sony based on their E3?
nothing.
Not,
Nothing this year.
well, you're getting VR
Well, the
if you're
Last Guardian. You're getting the Last
you're
Guardian, and you're
getting
getting
Last Guardian,
VR,
which
which
I am
which is a
not
fucking
convinced,
PS3 game.
and
It's a PS3 game.
I am not convinced that's a good game. I know that there's a lot of hype, but nothing I am seeing convinces me that Last Guardian is going to be a good game. The trailers, I don't know. Is anyone here a fan of Last Guardian? And if so,
There's a lot. There's a
wh-
lot of people
are
that are.
you a fan of Last Guardian?
I'm a fan of the lineage of the game. Last Guardian is very love it or hate it because it's a lot like Ico and Shadow of the Colossus. It's more of an art form than necessarily a standard game. But calling a spade, The Last Guardian is a PS3 game. So
I
that's
don't care what console it is. Like, sure, you can call it a PS3 game, but the fact is the gameplay doesn't look that interesting. It does look like one of those artsy games, and I have to admit, Sony seems to be going a lot more the route of feel and experience through your game instead of necessarily have fun with your game. Uh, that's one thing I picked up from the whole Sony conference is I felt Sony was selling more an experience than necessarily a fun, which fun is an experience, you could argue. But that said, I'm not interested in Last Guardian and the whole Kojima
no, no, no,
reveal.
no. Hold
Can
on,
we?
hold on. I want to go through game by game because
Uh,
that's the
well,
Sony is
okay,
the conference I paid the most attention to.
right, okay, and there's a lot to talk about here because, like I said, Sony got us the most excited, most talk about. I think you can argue that they won, but once you take off their makeup, they're the ugliest They're ugly. So let's start off with God of War because I know you were ranting on that. God of War, I'm excited about. I love this reboot. I love the style. I loved everything about what they showed. But you go off on your rant.
It's not God of War. It's The Last of Us with a God of War paint coat. Okay? If you think that's God of War, you've never played a God of War game. Now, much like where I said Gears needs to evolve and needs to start branching out,
Hmm.
it also doesn't need to completely identify or abandon its identity, which is what God of War did. God of War turned from a fast paced action game into a slow, plodding, methodical game about a son and all this shit. No, God of War is supposed to be over the top violence with mythical creatures and gods and goddesses and titties, and it's supposed to be a very masculine game. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be God of War meets The Last of Us. And I don't understand why everyone got so excited for that, because essentially you could take out Kratos in that game and you would never say it was a God of War game.
Yeah, you're right. And all they're doing is what I will argue that Nintendo has done plenty of times is they're taking their IP and they're putting it in a game genre to help sell it. This could have been any open world game you want, but by throwing in the God of War IP, tacking it on, it builds more buzz and hype around it.
I agree.
And that's all it is. While you can argue it's not a God of War game, no, it's not a traditional God of War game. It's an expansion of the IP into a new genre.
And I don't necessarily care for it
As a God of War fan.
as a God of War fan, yeah.
But what about as a just a gamer? Doesn't look like a
No.
fun game to you? You don't want
It
to take
looks
care of
like
a
The
little boy?
Last of Us, which keep going down the list and we'll talk more about The Last of Us.
Sure. Okay, the next was Resident Evil 7, which I'm not into that series. You are, so you have more to say on this one.
I just played the demo. They definitely saw the hole that Konami left with the whole PT fiasco and are filling that hole. Now, as a horror game, it's pretty good from what I played in the demo and what I saw. Now, as a Resident Evil game, it's quite the departure. This is a much larger departure for me than Nemesis to or Code Veronica to 4, which I thought was a huge departure because you essentially turned it to from survival horror to survival act or to action horror. Whereas now it's like, you know, a first person realistic game. I don't know. It's very interesting to me. I do think it has a lot of potential. I do think it's interesting that they didn't showcase a whole hell of a lot and it has a January release. I tend to feel that that release will be pushed back. But what's very interesting about that game is that it is a VR game and the whole thing will be able to be played in VR. So what that tells me basically is that it, because it's not how can I word this? So it's not a game because there's several games. You know, Doom and Fallout are going to be VR compatible as well. So it kind of shows me that it's not a VR game; it's just a VR compatible game. So you can view it through the headset, but it's not developed with the headset in mind. Because I played the demo and I said yes, I could see this working with the headset, but it's definitely not needed. It's just a first person perspective game. It's obviously not designed with the VR in mind. It's just the VR is there if you want it.
So overall, you're happy with it?
Overall, I'm intrigued by it. It was definitely if I had to make a top 5 list because I'm totally not making a top 5 games of my top 5 games of E3 list on Retro Gaming 285 tomorrow. I would put that on my top 5 list.
All right. Next was Spider-Man. We didn't see much of it. Open world Spider-Man by Insomniac Games, which looks great. Love the IP, love the developer. Looking forward to this one.
You're gonna have to sell me more on it. I was intrigued but not impressed. Whereas I was intrigued and impressed by Resident Evil. Just it looked very similar to me. I want to know how much of that was cutscenes and how much of that was actual gameplay.
Right. Then we had RoboCop or Detroit Become Human.
That get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. They should call that Heavy Break or Quantum Rain because that's all it fucking is. Get the fuck out of here with that bullshit.
Yeah, it was. I don't know.
That game looks game. I use the term game loosely.
Mm-hmm.
That looked fucking stupid. I was ugh. Ugh.
Decisions aren't for you. Decision-based games aren't for you.
Decision-based games are fine, but they have to be interesting. That looked like a fucking 1990s cop show, like NYPD Blue. Like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah, I didn't care much for it. Next we had Days Gone,
Oh
which
my god, the absolute worst. I would rather play Just Dance than ever see that fucking game again. Days Gone, or as I like to call it, Sons of the Last of Us, or The Last of Anarchy, because all it fucking is The Last of Us
with
with
the
Sons of
bike.
Anarchy and a bit of Dead Rising. Like, Jesus Christ, I don't understand. They ended the show with that game, and it was just like, what? What? Did you see the guy playing it? Like, the guy is playing it, and the zombies are like literally like in front of his face, and they're not fucking killing him. It's like, well, either you have dumbed this game down, or the AI is just so bad that, oh my god, that game. I was because we're sitting there watching it. It was me, Connor, Jeremy, and Jordan. We were all watching it together, and they're like, holy shit, what is this, more Last of Us stuff? And I'm like, no, I don't think so. It's too soon. And then you see fucking the Sons of Anarchy, and it's like, okay. And it's like, oh,
Yeah,
new IP. New IP, my fucking ass. That is not a new IP. Oh my god, that game looks so fucking dumb. It's gonna be so mediocre. Calling it now. Calling a spade a spade. Expect lots of sixes in
mediocre
that game.
spade. Yep.
Mediocre
Well, I
spade.
think
There's
that's
no
what it
way.
is. I think that's the reality of the Sony conference. Yes, they brought the most hype. Yes, they brought the most excitement. But I think you're going to see, like, if we go into retrospect a year or two from now and review all the games that were shown at E3 this year for Sony, I think you're going to see a very mediocre lineup in hindsight.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah.
Dead Rising looks better than that. I would. Ugh, I'm gonna hate to say this, but I would rather play The Last of Us than ever see Days Gone again. Jesus, the most unoriginal fucking game I have ever seen in my
All right,
life.
all right. Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh man, I'm on the fence with that game. I want to love it. I honestly do want to love it.
All right, we
I
can't
think
break down every game. We're not PlayStation enthusiasts here.
we're oh Christ, Jason, we're gonna break down all the Nintendo games, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah, because there's fucking two.
There's a few
I
more.
I wanted to love Horizon, but the more I see it, the more I see kind of a convoluted mess. Looks great. Definitely a lot of Zelda inspirations in there, but I just don't understand it fully. I don't understand where they're coming from with this game. I don't understand
Oh
the
God, it's like
world.
you're dissecting a fine wine here. I
I
don't
mean,
quite get the taste of this one.
I can't. Every time I see it, I'm like, okay, this looks really cool, but I don't get it. I don't. What's the time
All
period?
right,
What's the
you
time
know
frame?
you know what I don't get? Let's get into the big meat one here. The Kojima game.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Death Stranding. Kojima's appearance was very epic. You know, walking down the whole very glorified, the whole crowd cheering. That was an E3 moment, very special. Then they throw up this trailer, the most WTF trailer of what is going on, and everybody cheers. And I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this, but was I the only one that was just going, "What's going on here? Why are we excited?" About this naked man hugging a fetus, and then there's oil everywhere, and then people are like, I can't wait to play this game. It's what are you excited to play exactly? What are you
They're excited to play a name. Um,
exactly? It's the name that's
and
selling it. Because you put any name behind that other than Kojima, and people would just be like, okay.
here's the thing. Here's the thing about Kojima. Kojima is. I'm gonna make a wrestling reference here that it'll go over your head, but maybe some people in the room will understand. Kojima is Vince Russo, and Konami was Vince McMahon.
I know
Um,
McMahon.
well, Vince Russo, you remember the Attitude Era of wrestling when wrestling was really popular, like the DX stuff and all that. I don't know if it was big in Canada, but in the States it was huge. And there was the guy writing all of this, the storyline stuff was a guy named Vince Russo, who then jumped ship to a competitor, WCW, and basically sunk the company. And people couldn't really figure out why, because he wrote all these amazing storylines in the WWF, but in the WCW, he just was fucking batshit crazy. And the reason was because of Vince McMahon, because it was a system of checks and balances. So Kojima is batshit crazy. And Kojima does not have a perfect track record. I say this as a huge Metal Gear fan. I used to have over $3,000 worth of Metal Gear collectibles. I know how much it's worth because I
What'd you do
sold
with it
it.
all? Oh,
I sold it when I moved out of my old apartment because I needed down my size
okay.
stuff. Kojima, for every Metal Gear, for every Snatcher, there was a Boat Kai, there was a Zone of the Enders. He's definitely out there. And a lot of people are. I saw people on Twitter calling this, whenever it comes out, Game of the Year, and I unfollowed them. I said, "You're
Uh,
fucking stupid. You are a fanboy. You are not. You are not looking this constructively. You're lost in the hype and the whatnot." As far as I know, what we saw was a game where you're gonna clean oil-soaked animals, and so
naked. Just
I mean, really, really, Kojima needs someone to say, "Hey, you have a great idea. Let's flesh out this idea, but don't go too fucking crazy." And I don't know that Sony is gonna have the balls to say anything like that because Sony's just so fucking happy to have a Kojima exclusive. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna put him. It doesn't need to be a very restrictive leash, but Kojima needs a leash, and I don't think Sony is gonna give him that leash.
right. Now you've got some nerd with a bad username in the chat actually dissecting, interpreting this trailer for meaning something else, and I'd be very interested to read all this. Uh, but we're gonna get back with the whole hype around the name and the press and all that because that's something I think we need to talk about after this. Crash was another big thing where everyone went woo and yeah, it's exciting. They're finally bringing Crash back, but then they don't show a single frame of gameplay, not even a screenshot, nothing, and that tells me that sends a lot of messages to me. Again, telling you that Sony here pulled a fast one on all of you. Because yes, they got us all excited. They got me excited too. That orchestra, like I was done. But just saying Crash is coming back is all they needed to say to show excitement. But why didn't they show gameplay? Is it just it doesn't look as good? The nostalgia, we have
Well,
nostalgia goggles on, or is they haven't started development yet?
it's a remaster of the first three,
Yeah.
built from the ground up, probably similar to the Ratchet and Clank shit. And then they showed you Skylanders. They showed you that because the game is very, very early in development. I mean, let's call it spade a spade.
Yeah.
And then they basically what they did was they did what Konami did with the Metal Gear Solid 3 pachinko thing. They got your dick hard but didn't finish it off.
Pretty
They did.
much.
So yeah, I mean, that was a nice gesture, but and for the record, I fucking hated the orchestra. That was so
I loved it.
pompous.
I
It
loved
was
it.
so pompous and highbrow. This is fucking video games.
Oh my God.
Fucking
Any little
video
thing of
games.
class for you is like, get out of here. Guy puts on a
It's
blazer.
video
It's
games.
games. Get
The
out of here.
most fucking fun, simple, endearing thing in the
And you
world.
know what's fun? An orchestra. Have you never listened to an orchestra? It makes
Fuck no.
games better. Mario Galaxy, better because there's an orchestra. Zelda, better because there's an orchestra. Final Fantasy, better because there's an orchestra. I could go on.
Okay, so make a shitty game. Make a shitty game, but have an orchestra, and Jason will buy it. Um,
Well, I would buy the shitty game with a good orchestra over the shitty game without the good orchestra.
okay.
Without the orchestra.
But yeah, the Crash Bandicoot thing. Yeah, a lot of smoke and mirrors there.
There is. And then VR is I don't have much to say about it other than this is really the first E3 where we saw this is the push to VR, guys. We're in a year from now we're going to be waist deep in VR, and the next E3 is going to be 50% VR.
And then 2 years down the road, they'll be sitting next to the Wiimote and the Rock Band and Guitar Hero accessories, and I'll be sitting there saying, "Fucking told you so."
Sorry, I had to.
Segway me, damn it.
What were we segueing? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Things like Nintendo sitting on the side next to the Wii. Going into the Nintendo conference though, but I don't want to get too much into this because I actually can talk very long about the Breath of Wild. Um,
Okay.
but before we get into Nintendo, we can already have this conversation because it's relevant. What is going on with the gaming press these days? And I know everybody already doesn't believe the gaming press. Um, and I would even argue we can't necessarily talk as gaming press ourselves because we've all come from a background of being gaming enthusiasts. We are and very enthusiastic about our games, whether we love them or hate them. But whatever happened, as you were saying, and this really was inspired by one of your, I think, Facebook messages, or maybe it was just a PM. What happened to subjectivity in gaming press? If you follow any of the big gaming press sites, they're all as excited about every damn trailer, about everything, saying like, wow, look at the graphics. And they're, you might not even be seeing gameplay. But whatever happened to just taking it in subjectively, saying this could be a good game, but we haven't seen this. And anyway, you can get into this more, Sean, because you
You,
inspired me with it.
I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. When, I mean, I, I'm not going to sit here and toot my own horn, but when I'm the realest motherfucker in the room, that's a problem. Because I shouldn't have to be the realest motherfucker in the room.
No, you definitely shouldn't.
The people that are doing this for a living and don't have to slave away at a day job and come home and have sleepless nights should be the motherfuckers that are doing this. When I see Kotaku, when I see Destructoid, when I see all these Polygon, these big websites, every fucking single game,
Everyone.
they're saying how great this looks. This looks awesome. This looks so neat. That's not journalism. That's fanboyism. And you're essentially the random people, the random fans that are on Twitter, and that's fine. But I have gotten to a point in life, because I've been doing this for a while now, where I cannot be a fanboy anymore, because maybe that's why I started to get rid of my Metal Gear stuff, because I started to look at things as a bigger picture. And then the more I became involved in industry and YouTube and all of these things, and people looking to me for my opinion, that just makes me want to be more real with people. And it seems like it's the complete opposite. People just want to pander to companies and expectations. Like, every fucking review I write for a Nintendo game is read by Nintendo, period, point blank, because they email me and when they want to use quotes. And if you look at my track record, I have bashed first party Nintendo games
Mario
pretty
Party.
hard. Pretty hard. Mario Party. Eli dismantled Amiibo Festival. There was something pretty recently I was hard
That
on
Star
too.
Fox Zero game was reviewed pretty rough.
Okay. But that's just because that's what I do. I'm not going to sit there and fanboy out. And it really sickens me. It sickens me how these major publications, they shared the fucking Sons of Anarchy Last of Us
So many
game.
F-bombs tonight.
This looks really cool. And that was the headline. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This looks really cool. Do you know how many fucking questions I have about this game? And you're going to sit there and it says, it looks fucking cool? Get the fuck out of here. It is oh my God. It is disgusting. It is absolutely disgusting
You
to
know what
look
I
at
see?
these people.
When you look at the whole ecosystem, it is disgusting because you have E3, which is the big announcer, and everyone's going, look at all these games, look at all these games. Then you've got Amazon and Best Buy saying pre-orders are open, order all these games. And then you just got the press fanning it all, going, this is good, these are good games. And then everyone's just lining up, giving their money to pre-orders. And hey, look, you have just run an economy on nothing but hype. You've just run an
That's
entire
pretty much
economy on hype.
that's what it's come down to, really. And it's sad. I don't know if they're afraid. You got to remember when Polygon made a big fucking deal about getting blacklisted by Bethesda from getting review copies because they were harsh on a game. Right then and there, that should have told you two things. One, the main players in the industry are paid off, and two, Polygon is a bunch of fucking saps who have no fucking backbone. That you sit there, you run a multi-million-dollar website with tons of full-time employees, yet you might not get the review out by the embargo. You might have to wait a few days because you actually have to pony up the $60, and it's the end of the fucking world. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Yep.
Be God.
We've definitely had moments where our review copies have either come in late or we have not had reviews. And what do? We go and buy the game and we review it a few days late.
Or if the game is too big. I mean, that's one thing. We're getting completely off topic.
We're tooting
here.
the horn though right now, but yeah.
But like RPGs, like right now, I received a copy of Tokyo Mirage Sessions FE, and another guy wanted to review it. He's at E3 right now, and he's very worried. He's talking to me. He's like, dude, I might not make the embargo. I'm like, that's okay. that to me that's okay. An RPG, I understand if you're a little late on that, because it's an RPG. It's a huge game, and a lot of these. I mean, there's even IGN was very late with
They're getting
what
more and more late now. Yeah.
what game was it that they were really
Xenoblade, they were
fucking late on?
late. Xenoblade.
Xenoblade. They were super fucking late on that. And meanwhile, my guy is breaking his fucking back 12-hour sessions to play this game. And it's just like, oh man. Like I don't understand it. This is your fucking life.
Anyway,
This is your
to
fucking life.
to get us back into the E3 thing, yeah, the whole E3 journalistic point, it's become
It's a
a
shit show.
big, it's a shit show. You're not seeing a very subjective press conference anymore. It has become, I mean, E3 is very exciting for all gamers, but now it's just everybody's excited about it and everybody's jerking everybody off, and it's just a big mess everywhere.
And people say I'm grumpy. I'm just fucking realistic.
No, you are grumpy though.
I'm a little bit grumpy, but I'm just a realistic person. I see things how I see things, and I'm going to say how I see things. And if people don't like it, that's fine.
All right,
But moving on.
moving on.
Sony. So Sony overall, good conference, smoke and mirrors. Fuck your PS4, get a Neo VR, spend your $1,000, and you jerk yourself off because we're seeing the
Uh,
console.
you're gonna drop on us soon, aren't you? Yep, he's gone. Which is good because that closes the chapter on anything non-Nintendo for this Class vs. Crass podcast. But we're not done. Now we get into the big meat and potatoes of Nintendo. What did Nintendo unveil today? And we're not just going to be talking about Zelda because there's other stuff. There's Pokemon, but Sean and I don't do Pokemon much, so we're not going to talk about that. But there's a bunch of other stuff. We got some new amiibo. We got some new amiibo announced today. Lots of Zelda Breath of Wild stuff. Lots to talk about there. We also got other Wii U 3DS games which were announced yesterday in the form of indie games. So Runbow is coming out with a physical copy, and it's also coming to 3DS as Runbow Pocket Edition. It's actually going to be a new 3DS exclusive. Sean will be back though, guys, so you guys don't have to leave. Sean's going to reconnect in 2 minutes as soon as his shitty router reboots. Yes, Agent Iron Cat. E3 is a massive circle jerk. And what are we going to get into? So Zelda, I was saying, indies. What other indies did we get? Shantae. Shantae's coming out. That's another game to look forward to. We got the confirmation of Mario Paint. No, not Mario Paint. Paper Mario Color Splash, which is now going to be the holiday Wii U game, basically coming out in October. We got a new 3DS game announced, new first-party 3DS game in the form of a new Mario Party game coming to 3DS, also coming out in October. Again, part of the holiday lineup. I can say jerking. Is that crassy? I don't know. The amiibos look awesome, in my opinion. I know Sean doesn't care much about them, other than the Waluigi amiibo. He's going to come here and he's going to drool over the Waluigi amiibo. But the other stuff look good. Yes, Atari 1E3, all the way back from the past. Sean always disconnects on the best screen caps. So that's interesting. I think Zelda's pretty much divided with 20. I'm seeing a lot of the majority seem to like where Zelda's going, but there's a fair good chunk of people who are not impressed with what is shown. With good reason. It's an open world game and it's very, very slow paced and it can be very boring to some people, depending how you play. But man, it looks huge. It's just so big. I'm really excited for it. Which is kind of funny because I didn't like Xenoblade because of its size, amongst other things. But Zelda, I don't know. Zelda's different. Oh yeah, we also have Axiom Verge, which is coming to the Wii U. So if you're a Metroid fan, Axiom Verge, fantastic game, fantastic game. You're gonna love it. Like if you've ever said you've loved a Metroid game, you need to buy Axiom Verge. It's seriously, it's where Metroid games should be today. Oh yeah, Mighty Number 9 comes out. Wow. Until it gets delayed again. Watch. Glow in the Dark Boo. Yeah, the amiibo has a glow in the dark, which is cool. The Guardian amiibo is supposed to have movable limbs, which that's kind of cool. Yes, it's a trap. We're getting a whole new set of amiibo for the Super Mario Brothers lineup, including a new Rosalina, Wario, Waluigi, and Daisy, Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and a Boo. And the Boo glows in the dark. I who didn't? That's how they got you. Zelda trailer, Pokemon gameplay. Everybody left. Bam, Zelda gameplay again. I thought the name was really cool for Zelda, but now that I'm trying to say it over and over, it really does sound kind of dumb. The wind of the or the breath of wild. Yeah, you disconnect, sir, with your kazoo. Yes, I think the
Yeah.
demo was stripped down to. The demo was definitely contained to avoid spoilers, but if you did watch the whole day, and I doubt most of you did because it's a lot to watch, but I did. I left it playing, and we were doing news articles whenever there was something new announced. They did mention a lot of things. For example, we didn't see any towns, we didn't see any NPCs in the new Zelda game, and that was on purpose because they actually reveal more of the story, which is part of the game. And uncovering the story is actually a big part of the game, and they don't want to spoil any of that. But once you leave the plateau, which is everything that you're seeing at E3 right now, is the plateau, and it represents like 5% of the world map, which is ridiculous. Once you leave the plateau, there will be towns, NPCs with quests. That was confirmed. So I think there is a lot. There's going to be so much to discover in Zelda. It's going to be a blast when it comes out. It's also
I think
going
so
to be.
too.
Are you back? Because we can't see your face. You're just a big black square.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Hmm, it's a shame. You want to try to fix that?
I did.
Well, you didn't because we can't see you. That's right. So, what was I saying? Breath of Wild, Breath of Wild, NPCs and stuff. When it comes out, I think it's going to be great for people who are exploring it, but at the same time, because of the internet, I think there's going to be a lot of spoilers going around,
Hmm.
and that's just going to spoil things for people. You're still a big black box.
Maybe I'm a big black box now.
We did not hear anything about Kingdom Hearts 3. They did announce Kingdom Hearts 2.8 a week
I don't I
or
don't
two
I
ago.
don't know what's going on here.
Sean Long figures out technology.
Might have to Oh, let me try something. Hold on.
All right, you do that. All of the new Zelda amiibo look awesome. So you have the Guardian amiibo, you have the Link with the bow, and you have the Link on the horse amiibo, and they're all they're saying that they are the most detailed amiibo to date. And if you use the Wolf Link amiibo from Twilight Princess HD, you can actually summon a wolf companion in the new Breath of the Wild Zelda. See, that just sounds weird. And he follows you and fights with you. And if you train him in Twilight Princess HD to get more hearts, he'll have more hearts in the new Zelda game, which I think that's a really cool feature. That's a great way how to use amiibo. Breath of Fire, Breath of the Wild, yeah, all sounds the same. That's the thing, right, Nicholas? The more we say it, the less intriguing it is. I've watched Princess Mononoke, Summoner with a Bad Username. Definitely gives off that vibe. I don't think it's going to be too empty. I got a lot of vibes from Wind Waker where you're on the sea a lot, and then there's all those encampments of the hobgoblins, moblins. That seemed to be kind of what the demo was about, with a lot of kind of areas to go and find new items, to find shrines. So I think it's going to be easy to get lost. And I love that. I don't know if you've all seen the trailer. There you are. There's your pretty, sexy face.
Hello. I had
You.
to use Internet Explorer. I don't
That
know
is
why.
disgusting. Ugh.
Isn't it?
So we're getting now into the Zelda Breath of Wild segment. Sean, lots to talk about here. I've been keeping you up to date all day. What do you have you looked? You've seen the trailer, right?
Oh
I
yeah,
hope
I've
so.
seen the trailer.
Okay. And you've seen how the game starts or no?
Yes.
Okay, so for anyone who has not seen it, Zelda Breath of Wild, so you have to reference it. BOW, Bow. Let's call it that. Zelda Bow. Uh, Starts off with Link waking up in a pool of water, doesn't know what's going on. You're in your underwear, and that's it. You get no intro, you get no cutscene. You just get wake up Link, and off you go.
I like it.
I love it. I love it. You go off, you find treasure chests, you're finding weapons, you're finding customized gear with gear slots. So you can put on a shirt, you can put on pants, you can equip a spear, anything that you find. And it actually has stats. So you have, for example, something that can have a level 3 attack or something that has a level 5 attack, etc., etc. So, Sean, thoughts on Zelda Bow? Come on, man. Jeez. This guy. Yeah, we're calling it Zelda Bow now. Breath of Wind would have worked better. So yeah, one thing that we got, one rumor that got debunked is that gender swapping is not a thing in the new Zelda, which I predicted it would be. I am happy to see the customization aspect that you can actually dress up Link using the various gear that you find in the world, which is great. I definitely love that you are not handheld at all. It's just go out into the world and figure things out. And yeah, it's very hard to have a discussion when I am talking to myself, basically. They do say that you can go through the entire game playing in your underwear. Obviously, it's probably harder, so we're probably going to get a lot of hardcore players trying to do it in your underwear. But that is again is great that you can do it. I love the more realistic aspect that hey, Link can't carry all of these items, and now they actually have an explanation for that. So I don't know if you've noticed, he has this like tablet thing hanging on his belt, and all of his items are basically summoned from that tablet. So like you have unlimited bombs now, and your bombs come out of this tab, and any item that you find is basically it's formed by this technological virtual reality kind of thing that creates your items on the go. So everything you're seeing a whole new level of realism in this in the new Zelda, which is kind of cool. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be changing the name anytime soon, Nicholas. They did introduce voice acting, which is also crazy, a whole new leap. So we're not seeing Link talking, but we heard the voice of Wake Up Link. But when Link did talk to this old man, which is the only other NPC we saw in the game, the old man didn't talk back. So it's a very midway point of voice acting. It's in the game, but it's not throughout the game. I did not notice low frame rate in the demo. That's a good point. Since Link is spoken, could we rename him? Probably not, I would assume, and that would be the first time we can't do that, which would be very odd. The shrines do look easy, but remember these are your save points to basically fast travel throughout the land. So they did confirm that there would be dungeons, the more traditional Zelda dungeons, as well as the shrines. So you're going to have hundreds of shrines to do these mini puzzles, which you can then fast travel. But then you're going to have the full-fledged dungeons, which are probably going to take an hour or two to go through. All right, what else we got here? Runbow has you more excited. So Senpai saying Runbow more excited than Zelda Bow, which that's crazy. I disagree. I'm way more excited for Zelda. Thank you, Reborn PlayStation fan. A Jason only stream is the best stream. Although I disagree, I would not want to listen to myself talk for a whole hour. For that, I make these little documentary videos like the history of E3. That's where you get 100% Jason. For Class vs. Crass, it would be nice to have Shawn back with me here. Instead of having to hold the fort down, in terms of the timeline, I think this is definitely post Wind Waker. I think this is when the water levels have gone down, and now you're seeing a destroyed Hyrule. Because we did see the Temple of Time, and pretty much everything on the landscape is destroyed. Everything is in ruins. So I think this is pretty much the age after Wind Waker. That's a valid point, Nicholas. I'm also concerned I might not have the time to just explore this game. It looks like it's a huge undertaking to get into it. Yeah, I don't think they would have a wake up insert name here and actually voice it. It did look like the Bridge of Eldin in the trailer. You saw a lot of aspects of Hyrule that we've seen in other games, so I definitely think we're in a familiar Hyrule. I'm not sure if Twilight Princess is. Thank you. Are you
You're welcome.
back?
For like 5 minutes, probably.
Jeez, turning into a Lapine Gate podcast. Is
Eh,
this your router telling you you're done for the night?
I don't know what it's doing. It's terrible though.
Okay, your thoughts on Zelda Bow before we go. Jeez.
I'm glad that they cleared up the whole open world thing because the open world looked like shit as far as not having any inhabitants. Very impressed with how they've taken the source material and expanded. It's really a different sort of Zelda game. I kind of think of it as something like Metal Gear Solid 2 to Metal Gear Solid 3, which to me Metal Gear Solid 3 was the pinnacle of the series because of the whole exploration, the hunting, et cetera, et cetera. It seems they're really embracing the open world, but still keeping it with the Zelda spin. I am a bit disappointed um, in I, I shouldn't say the graphics, but I don't know. They look phenomenal, but it's very Skyward Sword, Wind Wakery, and I,
You don't
But
like that painted, cartoony look?
I mean, I don't hate it, but I would like to see them push. I would like to see, I would like to see Zelda be the high graphical fidelity game for Nintendo.
Right. Well, I think they are definitely pumping a lot into this one. I saw a lot of signs that shows that they are using techniques to cheat. Like when you look at the tree being cut down and falling, you see like 4 or 5 branches fall off, which is like an old technique you see in the PlayStation 2 games.
Yeah,
Even the foliage on the trees are not full foliage. They're actually 2D rendered leaves, which are like sectorized like this, which again is a technique used in the old PlayStation, like in that generation of game. So there's a lot of things in Zelda Bow which graphically is not that impressive. It successfully gives out the scope of making it look like a big world, but it doesn't stand toe to toe with anything that was released in recent years on the competitor consoles.
right. And I mean, it's fine the way it is. It looks gorgeous art style wise. I would like to see Zelda become a technological experience. But yeah, very interesting game what they did. I'm surprised they showed off as much as they did, and a lot of the new stuff in the game looks very interesting.
You have any theories on the story? Because that seems to be what's going to be the big driving force in terms of we don't know anything. And we're not going to know anything about the story. Like, I think that's the whole point. The whole point is not knowing. And that's why you're going to buy the game, because you don't know.
Which is interesting because I mean, a lot of Zelda games to me, I mean, yes, there's a story, but I wouldn't say the stories ever really resonate with me. It's more the experience, the gameplay, the boss battles, and whatnot. So it looks like they're going with a heavy story-driven element to this game, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be sort of shoved in your face. I think the story is going to be more you find it out on your own. And to Mr. PlayStation fan, I will point you in the direction of the Metroid Prime series on the GameCube. I rest my case.
True.
Um, but yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I felt it gave a very big vibe of Shadow of the Colossus, where in Shadow of the Colossus, you're in this big valley and you're not really told what to do other than follow the shining thing on your sword, and you just go around and you're destroying monsters and you don't know why. And with this Zelda, I feel it's the same thing. You wake up on a plateau in the middle of the world, and have you seen the scale of this world?
Yeah, it's
Oh
massive.
God, it's massive. They're just zooming out and there's just like more and more map. Um, it's I don't know. It's exciting to get into. Like I really want to explore this world, which that's already a good selling feature. The fact that it already creates enough intrigue, and I think that's what's going to keep the player going. What you saw in the demo today, like they were wasting a lot of time just kind of going around collecting apples, collecting sticks to show you guys what you can do. But not everybody's going to play like that. Some people will be more driven to be distracted by all the little things in the world, but a lot of us are just going to be like, all right, how do we get to the next point? Where do we go? And I'm sure you're going to feel the pacing is going to be a little bit smoother and quicker because you're going to be unveiling more of the story, more of the world, and there's going to be more satisfaction in that because you're the one driving that. It's not the game holding your hand and saying, "Let's go for a ride in my black van."
I plan no. I plan on chopping down every tree and clear cutting because fuck nature.
I wonder if they regrow though. Like that'd be interesting if you could do that.
Yeah, it would be interesting. Like, and if the grass comes back after you light it on fire
Oh,
and
that is
whatnot.
cool too that you can
Um,
burn grass.
not the funky grass kitties. We're talking about the
Yeah, yeah.
grass.
And yes, Ganon is the villain. We saw it confirmed in the stream as one of the in the shrine. You kind of go talk to this old dude, and the old dude's always like, "You have to have the strength to fight Ganon." And so we had a Ganon name drop, and that's all we know about Ganon.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a game I would have liked to have played this fucking year. But
Yes, my God, we would have had plenty of time to play it too. Jeez.
yeah. But yeah, very very impressed. Definitely one of, if not the best games at the show, solely because they actually showed the game. Whereas a lot of companies just showed you hype and stuff to get excited about, this actually showed you meat and potatoes.
Right. And this is a good thing for E3, and I don't know if it's going to set them all because games, you know, historically E3 was all about lots and lots of games, but let's be realistic, games are harder to make, the big ones, and they require more resources and more lead time. And this could be a precedent that Nintendo is saying, hey, you can have just one game at E3 as long as you make it a big deal. How would you feel about that?
No, no. Because at the end of the day, Nintendo had the worst press conference by far, or had the worst showing by far, because they
Because they had
showed
no
two.
press conference.
Well, yeah, they had no games. This is. I don't think this is any sort of precedent. I think this is literally. I mean, this is literally showing up saying, okay, you have a test in 3 months, you need to study for this test, and then showing up the day of the test and be like, oh fuck, I didn't study for the test. I'm here though, so fuck you. like like honestly, Nintendo probably, I don't want to say they shouldn't have shown up to E3, but I mean their E3 sucked.
Yep. I do
I mean,
miss.
go on.
I think the Nintendo Direct was a good direction to go into 2 years ago, and those digital events that we got were a blast. After we have the press conferences, even when I went to E3 last year, I was excited to wake up in my hotel, turn on the stream, and watch the digital event. I felt like a kid watching a Saturday morning cartoon again. But my question to you
But
is, so we've pretty much seen, I would say, 3 to 4 different formats from the big developers here on how to have a press conference. What model do you think is the way to go?
I think it needs to be condensed. I don't think you need hour and a half press conferences. I think 30 to 45 minutes is a sweet spot. You're to sell the game, you should be selling it on the show floor. You should be showing it to people, and then you should sell it on the show floor where people can play it. I think these long, drawn out press conferences with fucking corny dancing and skits and humor, get the fuck out of here.
Yep.
Okay, keep it streamlined. Keep it streamlined. That's how you keep people interested.
Yep.
Things like this are why, although I can go to E3, even if I didn't mind flying, I wouldn't really be that interested, because it's a shit show
Yep.
essentially.
Right.
Um, so they need to condense things. They need to 30 to 45 minutes is perfect, and maybe scale back the future games so much. I mean, think about this. Think of how much shit you saw from Sony and Microsoft last year that you didn't see this year, but is still not out.
Yep. And it didn't even get mentioned. For example, Final Fantasy VII was name dropped last year, created a lot of hype, and it's nowhere to be seen this year.
Exactly, because Sony is the king of the smoke and mirrors. That's why it sold
They
40
are.
million consoles.
But the smoke and mirror works. It
Of
gets us all
course.
excited. And
No. It gets the sheeple excited.
I got well,
It gets the sheeple excited, because we just sat here and dissected Sony's press conference for what it actually was.
when you sit,
But
yeah,
but your
afterwards,
average fan watching at home and your average critic nowadays, because they're paid off, isn't going to say anything like that. They're going to feed into it.
right.
Every fucking game that was shown was the biggest fucking deal in the world to everyone on Twitter. I was so disgruntled sitting on Twitter watching these people freak out over this stuff that you know little to nothing about. And the only reason you're excited about it is because everyone else is excited about it. It's hive mentality.
Okay. You're gonna get cut off from this podcast for good tonight. Sean's gonna come back. We're gonna end it. But I do, my opinion. is I think Sony is the way to go in terms of a conference. It's about an hour. It's short to the point, and it's just games, 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 games. That's how you do it. My After watching the Sony conference, I felt Microsoft conference felt severely outdated. The whole here's a game, here's a tech demo, let's talk about it. Let's have these two people up here talk about it in a very awkward way. Or when Ubisoft do their scripted gameplay where it's like these gamers who are so into it, they're role playing their first person shooter games. Like, who plays like that? I know there are some that do, and that's fine, but most don't. Um, so, in my opinion, it's either you go digital event like Nintendo was doing, or you go Sony conference, which is what they did. And the great thing about the Sony conference is you don't need to fly to LA to enjoy it. They had those in theaters across North America, and it basically expands the E3 experience to more people. And I think that's the future of E3. You need to expand to more people. So we're going to wait for Sean to come back to do a formal closing off, but we can do a lightning round with just myself. So what do you guys think of E3 as a whole? What did you like? What didn't you like? What are your thoughts on all this? True, Sony doesn't make Final Fantasy VII, so we can blame Square Enix for not showing it this year. They didn't even have a press conference. They're really, I think, just overloaded. This is why we don't usually do these long Class vs. Crass sessions because Sean's internet just can't take it. I was following Jim Sterling's Twitter account the whole time. I think he does it from an entertainment point of view. I don't know the guy well enough to say he actually does like or doesn't like E3, but he definitely brings some entertainment value to it. Sony's press conference was definitely slick. I feel that that is the perfect model. It got us all excited. Regardless if it is smoke and mirrors, it creates excitement, it creates buzz, and I really feel that that is a big part of E3 these days. That's what people want. They want to be excited. They want to feel like it's Christmas morning. And even though, by the end of Christmas Day, you could be like, that toy wasn't that great after all. It doesn't matter. Last year, was it 2 hours for Sony? I remember last year's Sony was pretty interesting as well. Um, but I felt Microsoft really brought the best last year.
I think so. I completely agree with you for once in your life.
Wonderful. So we're gonna do the lightning round, Sean, because I think that's all your internet's gonna give us. So this is where you can ask your questions, your topics, anything you might have for the group, for Sean or myself. Any questions regarding E3, regarding Zelda Bow? And while you guys toss up your questions, Sean, real quick, what do you think of Pokemon Sun and Moon?
Not really interested. It's Pokemon. Pokemon is fine for Pokemon fans. Pokemon is kind of like Gears of War to me. It needs to evolve. Something big needs to happen.
Now,
Um,
Pokemon fans were saying that Sun and Moon were showing a lot of new things that was getting them excited, but it was so subtle I didn't really notice. I guess there's a 3D world map, which is a big thing.
I want
A console.
yeah. Give me a console Pokemon, man. Sign me up for that.
Do to Pokemon what you just did to Zelda. That's what I want them to do. But
Jason, can you give me your Xbox so I can play Dead Rising 4?
buy
I
me
like
an Xbox S, Xbox One S, and you can have my old one.
that. That thing's gonna sell, man, because that's the cheapest way to play 4K video. That's one of the reasons the PS2 was so successful
Yeah.
because it was the cheapest way to play DVDs.
And Sony has nothing to counter that, which is a very smart move.
They really don't. Well, I mean, supposedly with the Neo, but I don't know. Neo's going to be so expensive.
I
That's very.
I was watching Kind of Funny. Someone mentioned it earlier. Kind of Funny is actually a group I enjoy watching them, even though I do feel that they are a little biased towards Sony. But Colin was mentioning that he thinks the whole point that the Neo wasn't unveiled is they got a sense of the Scorpio specs and realized it wasn't strong enough, and they pretty much had to pull back last minute to go back to the drawing board and buff up the Neo, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if that's true. That's a rumor,
I don't think that's true.
but if true, very interesting.
I mean, is that why the Scorpio? I mean, there's by that logic, I could say, oh, the Scorpio and the Neo exist because the NX is so powerful. Waka waka waka! Like, fuck out of here, Colin, stupid bastard. Do you think the 3DS is going to go away soon? I think it's nearing the end of its life. It's had a very long life since 2011. Um, it's pretty much maxed out in every way, shape, and form. So at some point in time, yes. It all depends on what the NX is, though.
Yep. And that's the next thing we have to look forward to from Nintendo because let's face it, the next conference, the next announcement we're going to get from Nintendo is very much likely the NX.
Do you think we'll get a Nintendo Direct anytime soon? Yeah, you'll get a Nintendo Direct September, maybe earlier,
Oh.
August.
And they're going to
Um,
show off the mobile games too.
yeah, and it's gonna be NX and mobile because what are you gonna show off? Fucking Color Splash and
Well, they do
uh,
need a they will have a direct for that.
Mario Party,
Pate.
which probably still won't have online for the 3DS.
Do you guys remember XD Gale of Darkness, the GameCube one?
Yeah,
I do
what
not.
about it? Oh, it was okay.
Like, why are there not more of that?
Oh, well, why aren't there more games in general on the Wii U? Like, come on. Do you think the story of the new Zelda will suffer from all the exploration and the size of the world? No, because I don't think Zelda to me is not a story intensive game. It never has been.
It's
It's
not a
always
Last
been
of
what,
Us.
yeah, for what it is. It's what you make it. It's what you take out of it. So no, I don't think it'll suffer at all. If they show off the Neo at Tokyo Game Show, maybe they'll show off Final Fantasy VII. Maybe. The Neo is very interesting because Microsoft just came out and said, "Fuck it, fuck the Xbox One. Here's the Scorpio. You should probably go buy a PC because all these games are on PC." And Sony's been a little more reserved.
So Frostbite asks, what games do you think is going to be revealed during the next few days? While Nintendo will be showing a lot more games tomorrow, I do not think we're going to get any more new announcements from Nintendo at all this week. And I don't think we're going to see any other announcements from any other developer this week
Correct.
or this month for that matter.
I think we're pretty much done. E3 is pretty much done.
Yeah. Tomorrow's going to
Tomorrow,
be tomorrow you're going to get some insights on games we know, but details we don't know. So we're going to get some new details. There's going to be some news, but it's not going to be mind-blowing, I don't think.
do I think you'll get Mother 3 this year? I don't care.
Mother,
I want Mother 93 starring Danzig for
if
my
I
birthday
was your
party.
mother.
What the fuck is that?
It's a song. What is it?
What happened to the one horror game on Wii U everyone wanted? I forgot the name. Sorry.
The
I don't
one
know.
horror game?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The Fatal Frame game?
That came out.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mario Kart 8 DLC coming soon?
Oh yeah,
Possibly.
that's a good
Where?
point.
What is this stemming from? I still
Th-
haven't found anything
this was
reliable
okay.
on
This
this.
it's pretty reliable. It's Nintendo of Europe's Twitter account tweeted a picture of.
Oh, for fuck's sake! That fucking no, 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 no,
But
no,
they had a
no.
hashtag.
I don't care.
Said
No,
MK8.
nope, I don't care.
So you
Just a
don't
random thing.
just
Nope.
random.
Yes, just random. Nintendo does random stupid shit on Twitter,
You
just
know
like
what?
Sega does
I don't
random
think
stupid
everything.
shit.
Yeah, these are good points. I think we will get the Mario Kart 8 DLC something, unlike what Sean thinks. And we also have the Sonic game that hasn't been announced yet.
Probably because it's dog shit.
So yeah, you know what? I think there are a few more games left, which are the Sonic anniversary game and Mario Kart 8 DLC. So yeah, I think tomorrow there might be some surprises after all. Still with us? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. No new Smash characters. Smash is done. What are you typing?
nothing.
Oh, and you're probably gonna get a lot of news on VR porn games because that's on the E3 show floor. So the press have tried it today and tomorrow, and that's gonna start going out, and that's gonna be a lot of buzz. So that should be
Fucking
interesting.
Gamester was taking pictures at the booth.
Oh, was he already?
Yeah.
Nintendo of Europe's account is as reliable as Sonic's one.
Thank you. Who
Fair
said
enough.
that? Who said
Lucas,
that?
Lucas.
Lucas is my people.
More Hyrule Wars DLC. Don't you
Oh,
have enough? Like,
there's too much, if
serious.
anything.
There's a lot. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get more Hyrule Wars. Come on, between the 3DS and the Wii U, you have enough to last you until the NX comes out. All right, last few questions before we wrap up, guys, for tonight.
Mother!
What was that?
Have you never heard Mother by Danzig? Why
Wait.
is my Wii U making noise?
Why is my
I
Wii
don't
U not
want the
making noise?
sale.
Oh yeah, there's a sale going on,
And
so
I don't want any of the games because I have all the
pretty
games.
much. But there's a lot of good Zelda titles there that are half price. There's a lot of
Yeah,
good
where's
games.
my Link to the Past on new 3DS on sale, you fucking cunts? I'd have bought that.
Well, you're not going to be getting reviews of the next games.
Sorry, love you, Nintendo. Best friends forever. All right, we got any questions? When are they going to release the Bayonetta amiibo? When they release the fucking Cloud one?
What's the big indie game on Wii U going to be this year? Axiom Verge.
Yeah, that's
Ukulele is going to be next year. And Shantae, I'm not convinced Shantae can really do.
Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9, yes. All right. So we're
Least
gonna.
favorite console, mine is the Virtual Boy. I should suspend you for that.
So we're gonna wrap it up for today. It's been a really long podcast. Thank you all so much for joining us. Hope you've been enjoying E3. It was great sharing our E3 opinions and thoughts with all of you. Sean, do you have anything coming down the pipe? Before I get into you, let's talk about me because I got stuff coming down the pipe and it's way better than your stuff. So
Okay.
as you know, I've been talking Nintendo E3. You've got part 2, 3, 4, which are going to be coming out. Part 2 probably early next week, and then the whole series is going to be released hopefully by the end of June. Also, we've got a whole new skit coming out. And no, the big skit I've been working on was not that crazy thing that me and Sean did in the desert. That is, I don't know what we were thinking, honestly.
No, 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 no. Fuck you. Don't you ever say we. Say I. Because that was all yours and I just went along with it to shut you up.
But you still went along with it. You should have
Because I'm
shot
a
me down.
nice guy.
No, when I have a bad idea, you say no, Jay. No, we're not doing this. That's a bad idea. That's stupid. Go away. You even sang it. You sang it. You sang it and you put on your camera and you did the shooting of it.
Because it was fun. I don't care. I'll do anything. It doesn't bother me. It's stupid as
Play
fuck.
on a console that can't offer no games. Felt bad to be left
Okay,
in
okay.
the
So
cold.
keep talking. Jesus. People are leaving because you're going over your plans that never come to
Okay,
fruition.
what's your plans?
So, tomorrow, I'm going to do some writing, probably put a lot of what I said tonight into words. Um, and I'll probably write one thing that might piss some people off, but we'll see. And then I will be doing a after E3 is all said and done, probably right closer to the nighttime. I will be doing a top 5 RGT85 games of E3 video. You can catch that channel here if you want to check that out. Probably won't make a video. Wednesdays are usually my day off of work. Probably won't make a video. Tomorrow for Nintendo just because what's there really to make a video on? And then yeah, I go out of town next week, so next week I'm actually going to be really quiet and you won't
Where are you
really hear
going? Where are you going? Tell people so they can go see you.
So,
This is your audience, or half of it.
if you live in the Northeast or anywhere near the Northeast or are traveling to the Northeast, I will be at the Too Many Games convention with other YouTubers such as JKB, Rerez, The Game Chasers, 8-Bit Eric, Angry Video Game Nerd, Mike
Oh
Matei,
my
and
god,
more.
jeez.
And I am on a panel. I will be on a panel with my friends, idiot, fucking stupid friends, D. Dave, Jeffrey Wittenhagen, who is the author of the complete SNES book, and Scott Squatch, JHMDF from the Video Game Sellers channel. It's got 40,000 subscribers. And I believe JKB is actually going to be crashing our panel and joining us as well. We'll be talking 90s game nostalgia, and we'll also be talking about the complete SNES book. That Kickstarter is going live very, very soon. I actually think it's this weekend it goes live, so be sure to check that out. Only asking $5,000. We should hit that very quickly. I'm making no money from the book. I just want to be a published author in an actual fucking book. And what else? Yeah, it's in Oaks, Pennsylvania at the Philadelphia Expo Center from June 24th to the 26th. I will be there all 3 days. I'm getting in Thursday, leaving Monday. So if you're in the area, if you're going to the convention, come say what's up, man. It's gonna be a good time, and we're gonna have fun. We're gonna party and all sorts of bullshit. Who knows? I'll probably end up in jail.
And then I'll need a new co-host. So if you are interested in being a co-host on a Nintendo podcast, please apply at jason@enthusiastgaming.com and let me know why you think you would be a good co-host on this podcast.
I already told my dad to have some bail money set aside just in case.
Great. Oh, now you're just chugging out of a 2 liter. You're
Yeah.
done with the cans. You've just upgraded to 2 liters?
No, we sell these. We sell these at work for $1, and so sometimes, like today, I didn't have time to stop and get groceries because God for fucking bid anyone steps up on the website. Oops, did I say that out loud? So I just snagged one of these, so I didn't have to stop anywhere. I gotta go grocery shopping tomorrow.
All right. So all of you who are asking for a 20,000 subscriber special, I think we're gonna have to wait till we're at 25,000, simply because there are so many things being worked on now. And personally, I've always felt that after the 10,000 subscriber milestone, 25 is kind of the big one, the quarter of 100,000. So that's where we're gonna do another crazy weird special. But lots of good content coming down the pipe. So we'll see you guys maybe on Sunday, I guess.
Yeah, Sunday for sure. We'll
Well,
do some Sunday.
Sunday. Gee, this guy just got hyped all of a sudden. Anyways, thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Until next time, keep it classy, or as Sean would say,
Keep it crassy.
we're going to go back to our awesome intro because it just looks so good. Have a
Wait,
good
can
night,
I
guys.
just play? I was gonna play my kazoo.
You can play your kazoo. They can still hear you. Oh my god, this hurts. I'm going to play my ocarina. You go with your kazoo, I'll do the ocarina.
Okay. Um. This is a terrible. We're doing the I Love Lucy theme.
Oh, is that what we're doing?
Yeah,
Here's your 20K special right now, live.
that's bad. Why
I
do you
don't.
have an ocarina? Like, at least my kazoo was like, well, free because I don't pay for
It's a
anything at work.
memento from my trip to Japan. I went to the mountains to get this from an old man. And that's a
That's
true
really,
story. It's a true story.
that's really fucking weird. Are we off yet?
No, they can still hear us.
Okay.
You should really see this intro. It looks cool.
I'm gonna watch it after it goes up.
All right, we're done.